our conversation tonight is on balancing airline safety and passengers' rights. We've mentioned the incidents that happened 2 days ago, happened on Sunday, and of course, I don't even know how to describe the site. Our guest is Barrister Anne Bassey Okim, who is a legal practitioner. Thank you so much, Anne, for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
Nice to have you. Thank you for joining us.
Okay, so it's no news things that have been going on social media. This is not the first time it's happening. It happened earlier with the Nigerian musician that almost got crashed into by the pilot that has been suspended. And also we have the incident that happened on Sunday where this lady was restricted from leaving the aircraft after everybody had left because of, the back and forth about turning off the phone and everything. And we've seen this happen not just in Nigeria, even on international flights too.
Of course.
It has happened, and it's not a Nigerian thing, as well as it's not just a we thing. I think it has to do with misconduct from passengers. So with this that has happened, with the incident that has happened before now and also on Sunday, what do you think about this current situation we are in?
Okay, when you say happened before now, do you mean a similar case like this where there was a struggle between a passenger and
Okay, the one that happened on Sunday escalated real quick. We've seen situations like this, but it didn't
in
escalate.
Nigeria?
We've seen situations. The one that happened with the musician, where he had the content in the bottle, it did not escalate to this point
because it was
obviously.
managed.
It was managed early.
Okay, so concerning this recent issue that has brought up a lot of reactions from people, I would say, first of all, safety guidelines are very important because we know the implications of lack of safety being allowed or lack of safety behaviors being allowed on a flight. But then, in a bid to ensure that safety guidelines are followed, human rights should still be protected.
Of course.
People's rights shouldn't be violated because safety guidelines are supposed to be kept. Fine. Switch off your phone or put your phone in flight mode. From the first video that was released online was the video of her just fighting, being violent.
Exactly.
And then, of course, which is natural, when people see such a thing, they would automatically take side. Who was that crazy passenger on the flight? And then that was the video that they put out there. I believe they put out there to just make it look like she was an unruly passenger, she was crazy, and she was assaulting the crew members.
Of course.
But she was, most times before a reaction, there must have been
An action
that caused or triggered that reaction. Though in everything, you're supposed to also react in such a way that you won't become at fault. But, more links of people's stories are now coming out from fellow passengers on that flight. Most of them are saying, if you check the net, you see people stating that they were on that flight and that they were actually sitting close to her. And it was the issue with switch off your phone. I wasn't there. I'm just quoting what I saw on the net from passengers around there. It was the issue with switch off your phone. No, I can't switch off my phone. So what someone said was that she was told to switch off her phone. And she stated that the switch off button on her iPhone was not working. So she couldn't switch off her phone. And that she can put it on flight mode. So the air hostess, I heard that the first air hostess was polite, but the second air hostess insisted, and that there's a way you can go to your settings and switch off your phone. Okay. She said, I don't know that. I use an iPhone, but I don't know that because my switch off button is always working. So I don't even know how to switch off my iPhone.
Manually.
Yes, but some people know. Like, I just had to know that there's a way to switch off your phone from the phone itself.
So it's possible she had no idea.
It's possible because I'm not lying. I don't know that. I don't know how to do that. But people say there's a way to do that. So she said, I don't know how to do it. Can you take and do it for me? It's not that I don't want to switch off my phone. The lady took it as an insult, that maybe she was being sarcastic or trying to stretch the issue. So that was where the whole backlash started and then the altercation started. But I feel that as an air hostess, if you felt the main thing was not what she was saying, the main thing was the safety. So you could have, and she gave you the permission to take her phone and switch it off. You should have taken the phone in her presence and probably in the presence showed her if possible. And then that matter would have been solved. But I heard that there was a reaction from her. She said certain things. Someone even said she smashed the phone on the floor. and the girl felt humiliated.
Okay.
Of course, that's a human being. Something that was supposed to be a close conversation with the air hostess became a public conversation that involved other passengers, and then she was humiliated. I don't know if eventually she switched off the phone or whatever, but that was the beginning of the incident. Okay. So I think when the plane landed, the air hostess had already called the security, reporting her. And so when people came down from the plane, she particularly didn't want her to come down. Another passenger said that she was actually pushed back in her seat
in order not to
leave the aircraft and for other people to pass. So that was triggering. I believe that was triggering. And not everybody knows how to put it together or control themselves when they are triggered and when they feel oppressed and helpless. There's best practice. We can look at the Western world, the way things are handled. Of course, when things like this happen, I feel like there would have been a better way to handle this incident in such a way that it wouldn't have escalated. If she actually did breach any safety guidelines, there could have been a better way in such a way that would have served as a deterrent to other passengers or people that would probably fly, that when you enter an aircraft, you switch off your phone or you do the needful, follow safety measures. But now, you can see what's out there on the net. People are angry at the way she was treated.
Let's equally talk about the video that was released. We saw some part of the video where she was naked. You know, her clothes was torn and the rest of it. And it made me worry that people that were making this video were crew members and they allowed this video fly. You know, you saw the parts where you recorded she was naked. Yes. You could not crop that out. You could not blur it out. You posted it the exact way you had recorded it. And so is this even right to start with?
That alone is a criminal offense. I hope you know that in Nigeria, it's a criminal offense to release a person's nudes. And then I'm actually happy that I don't know if you saw a video where she kept the camera and said, the air hostess is preventing me from stepping out. She was well dressed there with a sweater.
Yes, she was.
And then in that particular video, you could see that she stated that all the passengers have left the aircraft, but are being kept and prevented from going out. I was happy she made that statement because it was clear from there that every passenger had left. So it was just the cabin crew members and then some airport staff. So it's easy to actually pick out that it wasn't, you know, that if passengers were around, they would have put the blame on passengers, that it was passengers that carelessly recorded and released it out to the internet. But now they cannot deny that because the video was being made by somebody closely standing in the scene of the whole fight. I personally believe that if it was a guy, it would have been different, especially from the air hostess, because she felt that was a woman, a lady. And then looking at them, you could see that she was more advanced than this young girl. So she felt that she could actually resist whatever reactions would come out from this girl. But I believe that if it was a man, a grown-up man, she would have been afraid, first of all, to stand there because of the punches and blows that would have come out of it, unless, of course.
Of course.
And then I felt that it was easy for her to talk down on the girl because she perceived her a certain way, which wasn't even the issue. The issue was switch off your phone or not. That's the issue here, not how she's dressed, because some passengers also said that the woman called her a prostitute and stated that I'm not your mate. I don't think she would have said that to a man.
A man, of course.
I feel like it was more of, I honestly feel it was an ego and beef thing, if I can use that word. Because when I really felt that it was more of an ego thing and a malicious thing. And that she became vindictive and made up her mind that she would humiliate her. Because, yes, I completely think so. Because even when the plane had landed and people were trying to tell her, from what the passengers said, she insisted on calling the security on the girl.
Okay, let's look at the angle of handling this thing outside the aircraft. I mean, people had left the airplane already. Why didn't you just escort the lady out and maybe make her wait in a corner till the security operatives arrive until then, other than making her feel caged? Because from the video, you could sense that even the lady had the video from a different angle. Yes. Because it felt like she was being triggered, and knowing that everybody there is against her, you. She was alone. So you feel insecure. You feel like if you don't act ras, so that these people know, say, I dey craze, they will not allow me step out of here, which is something that people do to protect themselves. I'm not justifying whatever actions that was carried out, but do you agree that there would have been a better means to go about this particular incident?
Yes. I believe and I agree that there would have been a better way that would have prevented the aircraft from being disgraced and then also prevented her from being dehumanized. I feel that when once the plane landed, they should have allowed her to decently calm down because the distance from the plane to the exit, the departure, there's only one route to leave the airport.
I mean, she can't
The
escape
distance,
from
unless
the airport
she wasn't
without them.
disappearing or flying. So the distance from the plane to the exit would have been enough for the airport security or whoever or whatever agency they were about to call to actually get to her and sort out the situation. So they were so dramatic, and the action of keeping her there, blocking her from going out, was completely unnecessary. It looked like bullying, and she felt oppressed. They should have actually best practice, like in Western countries. You would see that they could actually be telling you, madam, you're under arrest, but they're talking to you presentably and you're actually coming down. And then best practice is that she should have been taken to a private room where she'll be told that she breached certain guidelines and that these are the consequences of breaching these guidelines. So sanctions would be given for doing this. But the scene was completely unnecessary.
Okay.
All right. So, Barrister, and let's still look at the balancing airline safety and, of course, passengers' rights from the angle of the hostess asking her to put off her phone for safety reasons. Do you think the extent she went justified the idea of the safety of the people there?
I think that she took it personal and she acted unprofessional.
Okay.
Because they are trained to manage passengers and to act with business ethics. You know what they say in the business world, the customer is always right. As much as it is not a joke that these safety guidelines are there or are put in place to prevent any danger or any accident from occurring, that is on one scale. Then on the other scale, there should be protecting of human rights of passengers as well. So everything should be proportionate. So as much as she was told to switch off her phone, it could have been done in a decent manner, in such a way that it wouldn't have escalated. Even if there are some people that actually get violent, like the incident that happened before this one, the man that refused to, the whole incident that happened just a few days ago before this incident. We didn't see anybody dragging him. I felt that was, even if we're to weigh both of them, I felt his actions could have been interpreted as a terrorist action because he went as far as going in front of the aircraft, but nobody dragged him, nobody stripped him naked. So I just feel that in enforcing safety guidelines, the rights of passengers should be protected. Not just about harassing or dragging, but even in the way you speak to a passenger. You shouldn't make a passenger feel dehumanized.
Of course.
Yes.
Okay, so looking at the incident that you just pointed out that happened with the Nigerian musician, do you think that the justice was not served on the same platform, whereby we have the same incident that happened and this lady too is guilty of this same incident, but we have one person being punished and the other person goes scot-free because of the influence or the connection that they have with people in high places? Do you see this as, an improper placement of the law?
Yes, I do. And it shows the inequality in the society. Yeah. Because similar incidents happen in a very short period of time.
Well, just a week.
And then it was more like this person was told to apologize because the person was more from the elite side, and it was handled discreetly in a milder way. But this one, in less than 24 hours, we heard that she was already remanded in custody and that a life ban was put on her, which is, first of all, unconstitutional because the agency, the Aon, the airline operators, they do not have that power to actually put a life ban on a passenger. Okay. It is the NCAA that have that power to actually put on a life ban on a passenger. So it shows inequality, and of course that there's no rule of law, because I feel that they just perceived that she was somebody in the middle class or probably lower than that. So they just felt that, because if it was certain people in the society, more excuse would have been brought up concerning why they acted that way.
I'm not even sure it would have made it to social media.
The person wouldn't have even been harassed or dragged that way.
But then let's look at the legal implications of these actions.
Okay.
If the lady was to come out, to fight this airline, what should we be looking out for as a legal practitioner that you are?
First of all, she can come under bridge of human rights, because first of all, the fundamental right here that has been breached is her right to dignity of human person. It's all out there on the net. She was stripped, and then people saw that a hand was the one that unclipped that coat. It was not an accident. It was a willful and intentional act. So her fundamental rights were breached. Right to freedom of movement, right to dignity of human person, and fair hearing, because I believe fair hearing should have been allowed, because she had a reason. From what everybody's saying, she couldn't switch off the phone. It's not an incident of where a passenger was adamant or stubborn. She actually did have a reason. So she had a story, because she has currently been remanded, and then the matter has been slated for October.
For that long.
For that long. So we don't even know, because that's not the practice in court. We don't even know if bail will be granted before then. So that's a lot. And she has a good story from what passengers are saying. So she can come on that bridge of her fundamental rights.
So how can human rights activists, barristers like you, speak up right now, instead of how to be, remanded for this long to October? How can these, bodies come out to speak on our behalf to see that justice is served?
Of course, I'm pretty sure that in a place like Lagos, there are a lot of human rights activists already willing to take up this matter. I'm sure of that. So, of course, but aside that, social media has almost become like a court these days. Okay. And most times I feel that a lot of people, especially oppressors, are even more afraid of the impact of certain things getting out there on social media. So with this uproar from everybody, basically, this is what everybody's basically talking about now. It should make them want to do something. But then as lawyers too, in such a case, ordinarily, after a person has been charged to court and remanded, a motion for bail should be filed for the person to be granted bail pending trial. But then this matter has been slated for October. So ordinarily the practice is that a motion for bail will be filed, but it will be heard on that October. But then with the way stories and videos are surfacing, and with the outroar from many people, I don't know if something could be done to actually grant her release before then, which is actually possible.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. It was an interesting conversation, Barrister Anne. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you too.
Save Nature TV. News in your pocket.